Live from our studios here in Kokomlimle, this is The Pulse, broadcasting live from our studios here in Kokomlimle on your digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air. Watch us live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144. We're JoyNews, independent, fearless and credible. This afternoon, investigations underway into the Wa mysterious killings. We are told about 9 killings in 5 months. We are live in the Upper West Regional Capital and also bring you the very latest as police confirms the victim was found with his penis, bladder, kidneys and heart missing. Also this afternoon, 12,000 hectares of cocoa land traded off for artisanal small-scale mining in the Amansia West District in the Ashanti region between 2010 and 2020. We'll break down the research findings by Tropimbos International, a Ghanaian-based eco-conscious research group. And in our Drive Safe campaign for this afternoon, National Road Safety Authority warned owners of minibuses to fix speed controls in their buses in the next 30 days or risk the complete suspension of the operations in intercities. We have details as data shows more than 11,000 minibuses have been involved in crashes between 2018 and 2021. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Dignilu, affordable, safe sanitation. Remember, we're also streaming live on YouTube and all our social media platforms. I am Emefa Paul. Please stay for details. And we are told about the situation in the Upper West region, still on that issue. 9 killings in 5 months, mysterious killings. We are told that there was the latest body and investigations are currently underway. Now, though unidentified for now, there's a suspect that have been part of the 7 security men killed in the area in the last 5 months. Our Upper West Regional correspondent, Rafiq Salam, will be joining us shortly with further details. But first, the Interior Minister and the Inspector General of Police in the company of the Regional Security Council on Monday met with traditional authorities and residents in Wa to assure them of their safety. There's more in this report.
The Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, on arrival in the Wa municipality, first paid a courtesy call on the Upper West Regional Minister, Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali. After his meeting with the Upper West Regional Minister, the IGP went down to town and interacted with some people in the Wa municipality on the roadside.
How dark is your place?
Very dark, very, very dark. No street lights, no nothing, no street lights. And our road, in fact, very
no street light, no nothing. There's no building for you to live in.
I'm gonna have to stay. But if I say nothing, at least you understand.
I understand. Yes. Because you are my teacher, so I understand.
Very well.
The overlord of the Walla traditional area, Navuseni City people the 4th, in his meeting with the IGP, did not mince words on the poor state of the region's security. The one-hour speech was articulated in a statement by his spokesperson, Nakadir Ibrahim.
When you realized the killings were getting one too many, you sent a team of investigators to support the Criminal Investigation Department within the police service in the region. When again the police service in the region got overwhelmed by the increasing spate of killings, you sent more men to beef up the number of your men on the ground. Admittedly, however, upon hindsight, one can describe the actions not only as knee-jerk reactions, but also as too little, too late.
The Walla overlord opined that the recent spate of murders has exposed the weakness and vulnerability of the country's security services.
The Upper West region, so close to the borders of the country, should have been adequately catered for in terms of security, particularly in these turbulent times. These killings have exposed our insecurity, our nakedness, and our vulnerability. Mr. IGP, this is a wake-up call. The Upper West region needs more permanent men on the ground immediately. This should be accompanied by adequate logistical support. We also expect a shake-up within the rank and file of men and women in the service who have overstayed their welcome in the Upper West region.
It was revealed that one suspect was arrested by a search party and handed over to the police. The warner in this case is called on the police to do a thorough job in order to get to the bottom of the matter.
We got the news this afternoon about the arrest of one suspect. Highly suspected by the people to be behind, if not all, but some of these atrocities that have been committed against us unduly.
The Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service, Dr. George Agovudampare, in an interaction with residents outside the palace, stated that despite the perception that the police were slow, they were up to the task.
So already every security agency is involved in this exercise we are doing. But as a lead agency, we take full command and responsibility and make sure that we deepen it to the level that will keep you so safe. That's why you could see all the motorbikes, all the personnel, and the undercover special intelligence teams, the undercover special investigation teams working day and night with most of you in the communities. Now some of you have seen some of them dressed as if they work in the market, as if they work at the shops, all towards getting to the bottom of this matter.
Dr. George Dampare said they are working on the quiet and with little noise, and hence the success.
If we are not committed, we will come have speeches and 3 seconds we are somewhere else. But because we are committed, we talk less. We want our work to speak for us. Because what the people want to hear is not talking. What the people want to hear is not casting insinuations. What they want to hear is that you've done your best to protect us. You've done your best to protect our properties. You've done your best to make our community safe for us to live our life. And that is what we are committed to.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
It's a good time to head to Wa, and Rafiq Salam joins us via Zoom. Rafiq, many thanks for joining us. Great reporting there so far on this particular issue. But we know about, let's start off with this 100,000 bounty on the killers. Really, what are we supposed to be looking out for to help the police to capture those perpetrators?
The police are saying that the 100,000 guarantees bounty is to motivate another person who has this information, who can give them that information that will lead to arrest of this cabal. And so they're thinking that they think that the 100,000 guarantees is motivational enough for them, for anybody to come forth with that information. But they're also ready to protect your identity.
Okay, but we haven't given any specifics in terms of what to look out for with these perpetrators beyond just giving information that you think could help the police.
That's what they are thinking, because they think that security is a shared responsibility, and so it is up to the community members. They are there, and even they are even coming out this trying to use this mantra: see something, say something. At least whatever that you see in the community, at least let the security agencies, let the police know, and they are prepared to hide your identity.
Okay, well, but let's talk about the latest discovery of this man. Over the weekend, which we're told about a man who was found in a shallow grave. Then we're hearing about another discovery. Really, reconcile these two discoveries for us.
The man that was discovered, the lifeless body that was recovered around the Napobokole extension happens to be Seydou Baga, alias the Kuli. He was the one that was uncovered last Sunday. But today, the person that they saw on that shallow grave around an uncompleted structure, which is supposed to house the Upper West, that's the Upper West High Court complex, is somebody that is yet to be identified. But he is generally a new person, somebody that nobody knows. It's the first body that they have seen at that particular location, located towards should I say, around the Tia Ahmadiyya area. And so they are thinking that this is the first body. And then when they saw the body, they took the body to the Upper West Regional Hospital morgue. That's where they want to see whether they can, that's where they want to do autopsy to find out what actually may have killed him.
Okay, I know you've been interacting with one who escaped death narrowly, one of these security men. We'll talk about them, but you've been monitoring that Regional Security Council meeting as well, and the IGP was billed to leave WA today. What's the status of all this? Is the IGP still in this Upper West region?
The IGP is supposed to visit all 11 districts, municipalities in the Upper West region. This morning, he went into town. After that, he headed to the famous Bure Esa district. And then I'm told that he will be headed towards the east, Sasala enclave, before coming back to Jirapa area. That is the information that we are gleaning on. And then tomorrow, he's expected to inspect the project, the uncompleted structure, work on the new regional police headquarters as told for some time. Tomorrow, he'll be doing a tour at that particular area. And but let me also tell you that the first body that was uncovered today, some of its parts are not there. The penis, the scrotum, and the heart, and the 2 kidneys, both of them are missing. And so that is the information that we're having from the Upper West Regional Hospital.
And this latest discovery brings the numbers to how many exactly as a last count?
For now, it's 10, because we can see that since February, we've gotten 10 persons suspected to have been killed for ritual murders, and then 7 of them are private security men. But 3 others, one of them I know who is mentally challenged, has been missing for the past 4 months and in 1 hour. And there's another body, and there's another person who came all the way from Demango, came to work, and he was reported missing. As we speak to you now, they have not been able to get hold of this particular personality.
Well, let's talk about the visits of the Interior Minister and the IGP together with the Regional Security Council. Is that assurance enough for the people that something really will be done about the situation?
The public, they are really happy that at least we have gotten the Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service and the eye of the Interior Minister on the region, because there are certain things that were not going on well in the region. At least the presence of the IGP and the Interior Minister would at least keep that particular instances. Talk about the number of policemen, the low number of policemen in the region. As we speak now, the Upper West region, before the addition of the 300 specialized police forces, had less than 1,000 police personnel. But with the promise of the IGP and also the Interior Minister, they are saying that they will boost up the numbers in the Upper West region. In terms of resources, the Upper West police are also least resource. And so that's another area that they also be looking at. But MFA, one thing that the police has been complaining on the quiet has to do with petrol. I'm told the information that I had from some sources, my source at the police station indicates that for some time they have not been able to go on patrols because they don't have fuel. And so that is one area that the IGP and the Interior Minister need to look at.
Okay. Rafiq, I'll let you rest to that voice shortly. We'll get back to you subsequently for more on this. Great reporting, by the way, on this particular situation. That's my colleague Rafiq Salam. And we've been talking about that 100,000 bounty placed on, or that reward placed by the police for the killing of the numbers of people that are recorded in the Upper West region. Well, on your screens now, I'll be bringing you excerpts of that statement released by the Ghana Police Service. And it talks about the police continuing to maintain law, order and security in one municipality and its environs. Suspect Kankani Adongo, who was arrested on 19 September 2022, is in custody, assisting with the investigation. Well, analysis of intelligence gathered so far suggests that there may be more than one person involved in this heinous crime, and will do whatever it takes to get them arrested to face justice. And then it goes on to say, meanwhile, the Special Purpose Intelligence and Investigation Team, as part of their surveillance during the night of 19th September 2022 recovered a body of a male adult at Bamahu. After the necessary crime scene examination, the body was removed and deposited at the regional hospital Wa, awaiting autopsy. A pathologist from the police hospital is leading a team to Wa as part of investigations into the incident. Well, there's a final part of the statement that says, we continue to urge anyone with credible information that will lead to the arrest and prosecution of the perpetrators to come forward and share it with the police. In line with this, a reward of 100,000 Ghana cedis has been set aside for anyone who provides information in that regard. So that's the statement from the Ghana Police Service. That's all we've heard from the police so far on this, apart from the IGP's walkabout in the Upper West region. Apart from that, we're yet to hear from the police. We're yet to speak to the police on this so far. But meanwhile, the Ghana Bar Association is also calling on the Ghana Police Service to intensify patrols and place security checkpoints at vantage points in the township at night. In the wake of the recent insecurity situation in Wa, they have a number of things they are hoping that will be done by the police in that regard. So that's the full statement from the Ghana Bar Association. They are concerned that as members of the GBA in the region, we deem it fit and necessary to publicly condemn these dastardly acts targeted at watchmen. And we take this opportunity to kindly request the police within the region to intensify their patrols. So they'll be also calling on the police to place security checkpoints at vantage points in the township at night. These are portions of the Ghana Bar Association statement. It also goes on to say, we are saddened that in a bid to show their displeasure, some local residents attack shops owned by Nigerians. We unequivocally condemn these acts on Nigerian shop owners in Wa. The GBA Upper West region is hopeful that police will act swiftly to locate watchmen who have disappeared. In respect of the watchmen whose bodies have been found, we sympathize with the bereaved families and pray that they will be comforted in this difficult moment. That's the Upper West chapter of the Ghana Bar Association. And going forward, they suggest a number of things to be done, that landlords and or property owners who engage the services of these watchmen should provide decent and serene places for them while they are at work. It is also advisable for officers to install CCTV cameras and also ensure at least 2 watchmen are at post each night. The police should encourage the formation of community watchdog groups to assist in the surveillance of the town in the night, as this will help curb crime and these dastardly acts of killing watchmen. So that's the Ghana Bar Association statement there on this particular situation in the Upper West region. Thankfully, we have 2 renowned security analysts joining us on Zoom. I have first Dr. Adam Bona and also Adib Sani. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time here on The Pulse tonight. Well, I'll start with you, Dr. Bona. So over the period, this is an issue that you've been following keenly and mentioned a number of things that actually came to pass. But I want to understand, with this bounty that has been placed, what exactly are we expected to look out for? It appears that we're only asking for information, credible information, that could lead to the arrest of these perpetrators. But beyond that, what exactly are residents supposed to be looking out for?
Yes, good afternoon, Amifa, and good afternoon to my colleague on the other side, Adi. I do believe that the essence of placing a bounty on, criminals, the head of criminals, is to get people who sometimes are themselves have an idea, or some accomplices, people who have information about, a crime that has been committed, to come forward and share that information. And that has worked very well. In fact, my own intel tells me that has worked very well under this current police dispensation. But, research also points to the fact that this method of trying to get information from, willing and those who would want some benefit, sharing information like that could lead to the arrest of those who commit crimes like this, has worked in many places, in fact, including our own country. And so as far as I'm concerned, there is a very hefty amount of money. If you bring it into dollar terms, it's about $10,000. That's a lot of money for anyone who has information that could lead to the arrest of those who are involved, or probably an individual involved because they didn't specify. So it means that if I have information that could lead to the arrest of one of them and that information is credible, then chances are that I get $100,000. I walk, I smile to the bank with $100,000, 100,000 cedis, which I think is very good. And so let's hope that this way of enticing those who would have information would work, because it has worked in the past, and I do believe that it is likely to work, depending on the way it is done.
Okay, so whilst the IGP and the Interior Minister were in the Upper West region, we are told the IGP is still there, but their presence and the assurance that they've given, would you say that is reassuring enough for the residents, since you know the ground more than we all do?
Yes, I do. And I've been in constant touch with the region. You know, I'm an indigene of the region, and I returned from the region just 2 weeks ago. And so I have family all over the region. And so this is a place that is very close to me. And in fact, this morning I spoke to some, chiefs who are also members of the Wala Traditional Council. I spoke to some of them with regards to this incident. And so, yes, I'm very privy to little details and big information. And so I would say that the IGP and his entourage, the police deployment, and that of the Interior Minister's visit has, I would say, produced some amount of magic. Within probably the last 48 hours, they've already, exhumed some persons who...
Okay, it appears we're just losing Dr. Adam Buna there. But Adib, let me come to you on this also. 10 killings, as are the last count, as my correspondent puts it. But we are hearing also that the police says it's not really up to that number. From your corner, you've been monitoring this particular situation also in the Upper West region. What are the key learnings for you? What exactly are the takeaways that you've picked up when it comes to the situation?
Well, before anyone perpetrates a crime, there are three things involved. One, the motive, the means, and the opportunity. It's quite obvious that these killings is as a result of certain persons wanting human parts to be used in most, of the cases I have come across for ritualistic purposes, okay? But what I am uncertain about is whether those engaged in the killings are the end users of these parts or they are harvesters for other individuals who would need it for their ritualistic purposes. And that gives us a fair idea about the motive. In criminology, by looking at the victim or the crime scene, you are able to define a profile of the perpetrator even without knowing the person. So based on the information I have also picked up on the ground, it's highly likely that these killings is as a result of people wanting to harvest human parts. And the means a person's or the perpetrator's ability, the capability to commission that crime. And that is why they are going after frail old men who wouldn't be able to put up a fierce resistance, like young people such as you and I. Okay, so it gives them the means as well. And the opportunity, I understand the place is quite dark. I heard some senior police officers talk about it. There was a PTA meeting for one of the schools in the area, and the parents lamented over the fact that the area is so dark. And so operating under the cover of darkness makes it much more easier. It gives the criminals the opportunity to be able to operate without being detected.
Okay.
That notwithstanding, it is important to identify that what is going on is multidimensional. And so there's the need for us to adopt a multidimensional approach to deal with it. A lot of it has to do with us stopping the killings now. That is why we see a lot of deployment just as my senior colleague, Dr. Adam Bona, stated, the IGP's visit is to the area is a giant step in the right direction because it boosts confidence in the police, which I must say has been at an all-time low. And it culminated into some xenophobic tendencies amongst the people, and a lot of them feeling that the police is not up to the task and cannot protect them. And that also had some implications.
Yeah.
The fact that some can take matters into their own hands and start lynching without even asking questions. So the police approach is good, but we need to look at the other socioeconomic dynamics, including the economic situation, how difficult life is for some people, young people without jobs. They've been pushed to the brink. They've been pushed into uncertainty. They've been pushed into the survival mode. At that stage, by hook or crook means, they would want to survive. And that is when you see them often really dastardly acts, such as what is happening to survive.
Okay. Well, Dr. Bona, the key question some have also raised is why watchmen? And then also this visit by the Interior Minister, who is also an indigene of the area, and also the visit by the IGP. Is it not 10 watchmen's life too late?
Well, I wouldn't say 10. I wouldn't say 10 watchmen's life too late. I would rather say better late than never. And last night when I checked, I think my line went off. But one of the key suspects who is in police custody, when they searched his abode, they found 3 ID cards that connect to 3 of the victims. They found mosquito nets that are connected to 3 of the victims. And one of the proprietors of one of the schools had come forward to say this mosquito net, he actually, I think, might have purchased it for his watchman who is now deceased. And so as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't say it has come, too little, too late. And the reason is that when you look at the pattern and the way these types of crimes are committed, usually it starts with missing persons. Missing persons reports is made to the police. The police would have to take the statements and then would ask whoever made the report that come back in maybe 24 hours, 48 hours, if your relation who is an adult and probably voluntarily had left home hadn't come. And sometimes some of them don't come. What comes to mind would be the Takrady missing girls and what happened. And so mine is that these things sometimes do happen. But when you look at it, why night watchmen? And why are these killers killing night watchmen who are providing security for private schools and no other place? And so mine is that the pattern looks very suspicious. And also to say that, we need to begin to also examine people's mental well-being, because then I have intel that the first suspect or one of the key suspects who has been arrested probably has behaved or has had some cannibalistic tendencies. What it means is that a normal human being, an average human being, would usually not have cannibalistic, mentality. So these are things that is...
Okay. Well, it appears we have a stable connection to Dr. Adam Bona there. We would have to wrap up with him on this. But let me finish with you, Mr. Adib Sani. So I was asking why watchmen. Earlier, you were mentioning that because of their frail nature, amongst others. But really, would there be a reason, maybe, we've talked about ritual purposes, could it be that it's just watchmen's body parts that will be good for these rituals? I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
In criminology, there's what we call rational choice theory. Before a human perpetrates or commits a crime, he's able to compare the risk factors against the reward factors. If he feels that the risk associated with this crime is high, he wouldn't perpetrate. But if the reward is higher than the risk, he would perpetrate the crime. And so criminals have had a tendency to go after soft targets, where they think their work would be made much more easier for them. So I'm not surprised that they are going after these individuals because they are a soft target. But you also asked a very important question, which Rafik touched on, and Dr. Adam Bona also touched on. What should we look out for? Because we keep hearing see something, say something. We keep hearing the police also tell us, if you see something wrong, you need to report it. Okay, and let me be specific. And I've done this before. When the see something, say something came, National Security issued a statement to the effect that we need to be alert, we need to be aware. But what does it take to be alert? You know, for perhaps you and I, we would know what to do. How about the people out there? They don't know. So let us get specific. One of the first things we need to look out for is unusual activity. That includes to check out for what we call environmental security. What is where it is not supposed to be? So you see unusual movement within a bush. You realize that perhaps they are not coming to ease themselves, and the manner in which they are moving with tools in the bush, you need to ask questions, okay? Then when you also see people carrying unusual luggage, more like they are carrying yam, we need to ask questions as well. And another thing to look out for is surveillance. When someone comes to your facility and is secretly taking pictures or videos, he doesn't want to be noticed. You see the same individual at the same point over and over and over again, then you need to confront and ask what exactly the person is doing there, or perhaps you call the authorities. And the second thing is overnight riches. And these days, because of the breakdown of our moral fiber, you see young people completing JHS, SHS, they go out one morning, come back home in the evening with a brand new Range Rover or Benz or Toyota Camry, and the parents are proud. They brag to their friends about it. That is my last born. He owns the Camry. What work does he do? Okay, and another thing to look out for is strangers behaving strangely. They've moved into the community very new. They don't work during the day. They work only at night. They drive only unregistered vehicles. That also raises concerns, and questions need to be asked. And the final thing is what we call in criminology, dry runs. Before criminals attack us, they engage more like in a rehearsal to test the security of your facility. So let's say I'm targeting multimedia. What I'll do is to walk into the premises without following protocol, just to see how easy it will be for me to access your studios without being noticed. But once I'm noticed, what I say is, oh, it's a mistake. I was actually going to the next building. We need to ask questions. So by getting to know some of these nitty-gritty, I'm pretty sure you and I can contribute. Like they say, security is a shared responsibility towards protecting our families, our communities, and our nation.
That's a very helpful. Thank you very much. But is this a fight that you're sure we can win, that we're not going to get another killing? Well, I won't be here reporting that one more person found or killed with the interventions that we've seen so far from the IGP and the Interior Minister.
Sustainability is extremely key. If we are not able to sustain it, I'm sorry to say it would happen again. And like I said, this is a multidimensional issue, which needs a multidimensional approach. We need to address the issue of border security, okay, which still remains very porous. We need education. People would have to learn to invest in security and not be reactive. And my senior colleague, Adam Bona, just asked myself, security entrepreneurs, and asked him, most of our clients who come to us are people who are victims of crime already. We wait until things happen to us before we start looking for solutions. So I would urge Ghanaians, as much as they can, to be proactive and not to be reactive. So together, collectively, we can all support the system. And another important issue to take into consideration is about building trust and confidence. What would make someone call the police line 18555 to report a crime? What is the incentive? Witness protection regime, is it good enough? Wouldn't the criminals know that I gave out that information? So it's a combination of a lot of factors, and we have to take it one at a time. But certainly one thing is for sure, deployment alone is not enough.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Mr. Adib Sani. He's a security analyst. We'll be looking at the war situation. Okay, I'm told that we still have Dr. Adam Bona. So let me take the final words from you. Unfortunately, we lost you earlier. So you were making the point about why watchmen, and then also maybe the final words. I'll ask if this particular intervention that we've seen from the IGP, the regional minister, the interior minister. You mentioned earlier that we're going to see a number of deployments, and definitely that happened. Do you have any more prophecies for us regarding the situation?
Can you hear me, Amifa?
It's loud and clear, sir.
Okay, so what the intel have picked indicate that we are going to have more forensic officers being sent to the Upper West, and we are going to have a lot of the police officers are going to remain there. Well, after this whole episode, we are going to have a good number of police officers getting retained in the region. And so these are some of the things that are picked. And there is also that indication that, there is likely not going to be any more fresh killing, but what I suspect could be discoveries, those that might have happened in the past, that we are likely to find maybe one or two more, unfortunately. But in terms of recent ones in the last few days, I don't want to believe that we are going to see anything like that. And so as far as I'm concerned, my advice to the indigents of the Upper West, and to be specific, the Wa Township, would be to remain calm and probably volunteer information, especially knowing when you are likely to go home with 100,000 cedis, to the police if you have any credible information. And mine is also to see how the Wala Traditional, the overlord of the Wala Traditional Council, the paramount chief and his team, and the police and the citizens of Wa will come together and ensure that calm is brought back to the Upper West region. Because
but speaking, not to cut you, but speaking of the Wala Traditional Council, we heard the Wana and the representative raise concern about the non-transfer of police officers who have been in the region for long and familiarity setting in. You don't think that that was a valid issue that should be addressed?
Well, I think that these are issues that can be addressed when this whole issue is brought under control.
Okay.
But in the
Oh dear. It appears we've lost Dr. Adam Bona once again. I was dying to hear his thoughts on the Wala Traditional Council's concerns about some key transfers in the area. So that's about it for the Wa situation. But my colleague Rafi Salam is following up closely on that particular issue. Hopefully, we do not have any more fresh killings, like Dr. Adam Bona said. This is The Pulse here on the JoyNews channel. We're live on myjoyonline.com, also on all our social media platforms. Let's move on to some other stories this afternoon. And 12,000 hectares of cocoa land have been traded off for artisanal small-scale mining in the Amansia West District in the Ashanti region. And that's between 2010 and 2020 alone. That's according to research findings by Tropimbos International, a Ghanaian-based eco-conscious research group. Lead researcher Isaac Nunu says the research established most farmers who sell their cocoa lands to the miners are impoverished over time. It further established that food insecurity among residents in mining communities is rather high. Isaac Nunu will be joining us shortly, but first, here's a report from my colleague Erastus Asaridonko.
Enyinamso number 1 and 2 are twin farming communities recently taken over by mining in the Achumangwabieja district of Ashanti. The entire river belt of the river Enyinam has been taken over and destroyed by illegal miners, even as the government's Operation Halt fights mining close to water bodies across the country.
So this is what remains of the river Enyinam. It has been stopped right here, and the miners are now digging deep within the riverbed itself. And so it is denying farmers here water to water their crops and even use it to spray their cocoa farms. And as you can see, the riverbed has been blocked here, and so definitely when it starts raining, there's going to be a huge overflow which will destroy their cocoa farms over to the other side.
Cocoa farms are bought by miners for between 10,000 and 25,000 cedis. Those who will not sell, like Boache Mensah, sometimes find themselves cut out from their farms by the miners. They are frustrating us to force us to sell our farms, but we won't, because it's a legacy for us and our children's children. Some farmers are incensed with illegal mining activities here. We are appealing to government. The Chinese are destroying cocoa farms. Every mined area here used to be a cocoa farm that could have served our country well. But some of the miners claim they are operating legitimately even in the middle of the river. Thomas Arthur claims he works for a licensed mining company.
Small-scale mineral commission for the Nayak company.
This is a small-scale mining site awarded to Nayak by the Minerals Commission, and we are working with them. It extends to Kukubiso and Ekradada. For the distraction to the river, we came to meet it. Close to the main Nkarie Bebiani road, miners are busily digging close to the asphalt. Also, within the Enyinamso No. 2 township, some Chinese miners are boldly mining away with huge equipment. Until the government intervenes, farmers and cocoa farms are at great risk of mining. Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaredonko, Enyinamso, Ashanti region.
Let me now bring in Isaac Nono, a lead researcher at Chopimbos International. They've done some extensive research on the impact of small-scale mining in the Ashanti region. We're grateful for your time here on The Pulse. So you have done some extensive work. I've seen what my colleague Erastus Asaredonko has also done. But really, I'm worried watching the scenes from Erastus Asaredonko's report. Is there no remedy at all? 25,000 cedis is how much they're paying some cocoa farmers to give off their farm, and they're readily doing so. What really is the situation? It appears that the connection there to Isaac Nunu there is just frozen, but I'm hoping that we could rectify that, because this is a very important discussion that we're hoping to get some further insight into. Chopimbos, they've done some work on this, and we've seen the scenes from Enyinam. So should I try again? Do we have him? Okay, let's try again via phone. Ms. Anuno, thank you so much. We're hoping we could do you via Zoom, but we'll make do with the phone lines. So give us an insight into what exactly is the situation. Erastus's report reveals that 25,000 cedis is all some of the farmers are offered, and they readily give it away because of the impact of small-scale mining. How dire is the situation?
If I got you right, and thank you very much for having me. If I got you right, people are really giving out their farms out, especially cocoa farmers.
Exactly.
When you come to the Amansia West specifically, when you're talking about cocoa in Ashanti region, Amansia West probably happens to be among the first 5, if not one, the top 2. And a lot of these farmers are really giving out their farms for sale for small-scale mining, of which the situation is on the rise from 2010 through to 2020, and to date is still going up.
Yeah, okay, but it's still going up. But is there really a remedy to this particular situation? Because I was telling you that 25,000 cedis and they're giving it away. But from your research, is there really something that can be done to remedy the situation beyond the stopping of these illegal mining?
Sure. Okay, so based on the research, what we found out is that one of the things that can be done is to mark some cocoa growing areas as the red zone areas, which shouldn't be touched by miners or given out for concession or being sold to miners for mining activities. Because if these things are done, if these things are earmarked as red zones, then there will be the need to protect them. Otherwise, these cocoa farms are owned by individuals, and since they need the money, they can easily sell it out. But if they've been earmarked as red zone areas, so if they mark places, special places, cocoa-dominated areas, as these areas are red zone, which are banned from mining activity, I think it can help out. Also, there should be the enforcement of the reclamation policy. As part of the concession agreement, miners are supposed to reclaim land after they've mined. And this is one of the things they use in deceiving some of the facts, that after mining, so they give out their land. It happens that it doesn't never occur. They don't really reclaim their land for them. After mining and testing their gold, they vanish from the community. So there should be enforcement that should see to it that everyone that is getting access to land is reclaiming those land. Okay. And also, people are giving, these farmers are also giving out because they see that cocoa isn't yielding much and it's not giving them much profit. And every rational person is in for profit. So the Cocoa Board as an institution should really intensify education and also support cocoa farmers so that they can get the maximum out of their yield. Comparing Ghana to countries like Cote d'Ivoire, Indonesia, which are is very young when it comes to cocoa production, the per hectare yield for Ghana compared to these countries are very low, very low. You see, so losing such amount of land is really going to have an impact on the economy.
Okay.
So,
well, I've seen what Erasmus has done, but I'm interested in the research findings of Tropimbos International, really. So I was asking, how serious is the situation? We're talking about recommendations, but per the research you did on the ground, how serious, how dire is the situation as we are faced with?
Now between 2010, the research was actually looking at using the remote sensing to assess how much of land has been lost between 2010 in just Amancia West alone. And we were concentrating on cocoa because it's an economic crop to the nation. And we found out that over 12,000 hectares of cocoa land has been lost to the country, has been lost as a result of small-scale mining, which is very big. It is very huge. Now, if we are doing some little mathematics, Ghana is making around 400 kilograms of cocoa per hectare. And having 400 kilograms cocoa per hectare multiplied by 12,000 hectares, that is a huge amount of cocoa that has been lost over the past 10 years. So a lot of cocoa farms have been lost, and a lot of livelihood has been displaced because these people depend on cocoa as their main source of livelihood. So now that the cocoa farms have been taken away from them, they have to be displaced. And they have to move out of the town, probably looking for non-existing jobs. And also, food is becoming very scarce in this town, especially in Amancia West, where initially we used to know that food was transported from villages, rural communities, or rural towns to cities to be sold. Now, it's now the river where food is being sent back to the villages from the cities to be sold to them. And it is very, very serious. That needs to be something that the research found out.
Okay.
So the research also found out that these people are really, they don't getting much from the cocoa, so they are just giving it out. And it's also something that found out from the research.
So this particular research is only focused on the Ashanti region, the Amancia West district to be precise, right?
Exactly.
And we are hoping to extend it to other regions?
Sure. We're hoping to scale it up to other cocoa-dominated regions to see the impact this small-scale mining is also having on cocoa production specifically.
But you get a sense that there's been an intervention on this situation?
The intervention I've seen the government made is the use of the current machine, the gold catcher, which is preventing people from using mercury in their mining, because the use of mercury is also very critical. Now the EU has become concerned about the chemicals that is used in mining, and associated effect on the cocoa beans. So what I see the government do, which 2 months ago the government gave non-gold, non-mercury machines, gold recovery machines to some small-scale miners to use in recovering gold. So if one of the things is when they promoted the use of this machine, unfortunately, these machines are very expensive, and these small-scale miners are not able to buy. But the research was using a model to know if these people could buy using what an experiment to determine how they can come about getting this machine. So pushing this machine for gold recovery could help, and also supporting farmers. I know Cocoa Board is helping farmers restore some of this land, and through this too, I know it's things that are being done to help. But the project also did some restoration of some of the mine sites, and the results is proving very positive. So restoration of this mine site by the town themselves or district assemblies could be something that could be done also in these communities.
No, we're indeed grateful. That's Isaac Nuno, lead researcher at Tropimbos International, and we'll be looking at the cocoa sector and reports about cocoa farmers giving off their farmlands for illegal mining, amongst others, because of the impact of these illegal mining on their farms. This is the polls. Still to come, we have our road safety campaign, and the National Road Safety Authority is warning owners of minibuses to fix speed controls in their buses in the next 30 days or risk the complete suspension of the operations intercity. We have details as data shows more than 11,000 minibuses have been involved in crashes from 2018 to 2021. Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. It's time for our Drive Safe campaign, and fix speed controls on your buses in the next 30 days or we will be forced to suspend your operations. That's the caution from the National Road Safety Authority to owners of minibuses. Available data from the authority shows that 11,000 minibuses have been involved in crashes from 2018 to 2021. And my colleague on the research desk, Kofi Eje, joins us with details of that breakdown of these figures for us. So, Kofi, thanks very much for joining us. Let's talk about the categories of these vehicles involved in crashes between 2018 and 2021, the period under review.
Right, so we have 5 different categories of commercial vehicles we are talking about here. And if you look at the categories that we have, minibuses right from 2018 to 2021, they account for the highest number of percentage in terms of road crashes we recorded within this period under review. So they contribute 31.22%, and that makes them number 1 if you look at these 5 categories, followed by taxis with a percentage contribution of 28.5%. Trucks, on the other hand, contributed 22.54%, and buses 15.02%, with other vehicles being 2.67%. If you also look at a trend analysis in terms of the number of minibuses involved in road crashes within the period under review, you can actually see an upward trajectory. That's according to the data that has been released by the National Road Safety Authority. So they have this simple regression equation that tracks the trend analysis of the minibuses involved in road traffic crashes. And you can actually see an upward trajectory right from 2018 to 2021. So the only year that we had minibuses involvement in road accidents reducing was in 2019, where it reduced from 2,837 in 2018 to 2,755 in 2019. But right from 2019, we've seen a rise in terms of the number of minibuses involved in road traffic crashes from 2,755 in 2019 to 2,906 in 2020, then to 2,880 and 9 in 2021. MFA.
Well, so I see that you've been showing that graph together with the percentages as well, but you've been giving us the figures. Are you able to go through the percentages for us, for those who did not quite catch that?
Okay, so in terms of the percentages, we spoke about 5 different categories of vehicles. So we have minibuses, taxis, trucks, buses itself, and then others. So if you look at the percentages, minibuses is leading with a percentage of 31.22%, followed by taxis being number 2 with 28.56%, trucks followed with number 3 with 22.54%.
Okay.
Buses, on the other hand, had 15.02%, and other vehicles being 2.67%.
And was there any provision of data in terms of why minibuses are leading when it comes to these crashes?
So we're looking at the rate at which people, actually go in for these minibuses because of the convenience and the fact that during the loading time, you can actually be in the bus, and then the time with which you have to wait until the bus is fully loaded is relatively less than if you look at the other, bigger capacity buses like the other ones that take more than 37 passengers. But with the minibuses, you sit in it and then within a very short period of time, it's full, and then you can actually go wherever you want to go. The speed with which you can actually move from one point to the other is also another factor that we are also looking at here.
Okay, I'll leave you to it. Tell your colleagues in the Joy Newsroom also to drive safe. Many thanks, Kofi. Well, the National Road Safety Authority has warned owners of these buses to fix these speed controls. So that's where we are. They've given them 30 days to do so. And also some commuters in the Ashanti region who are worried about the excessive speeding of commercial vehicles have welcomed the idea. However, drivers say restrictions on intercity minibuses could bite hard on their finances. Love FM's Emmanuel Bryce Kweku has more in this report.
Kumasi Highway is known popularly to be one of the most dangerous routes in this country. It has recorded increasing number of road accidents over the past decade. But in an attempt to reduce the number of road accidents on this particular stretch, the National Road Safety Authority has issued a warning to some road users, particularly drivers on this stretch. We have been engaging some of the drivers and commuters in this region to find out from them what they deem as appropriate for this directive.
Drivers
There are no jobs. Restricting them would be worrying. This is what they use to feed their family.
And also, bumpy no coin so to say the Takura coin no no. Who's a Takura coin who got Takura this year? We are Trakumasa Conina, bumpy and quan, Untimiko speed. So ha, business or moya. Passing as no dim so ha. I am no more per se. Can't cough as a Makoya, Dibu Akram, quite say, as a can't quite speed, mammy. Into dear cheer by fast maba. Or more nice or more. Woman now call Payano. I say when you're home up at na friendly banner. Time is saying as a mediba. I say a ball. More the American. Pass every man on one day. And I want to have semi pentema, some new home. Car way there, I say, may some way. Among quantema, they met Marco Bay 2 and a tray, and never bore me.
Some passengers prefer the vehicle goes at a faster speed because they have something to tend to quickly. The drivers want to go about 3 to 4 trips in a day to make money.
But this one, man, then it says in any BB above for ma, and also a bit more water than Mirkani more, it's as and so it's more. And at the rear, your pedestrians and also no.
The pedestrians do not use zebra crossing, contributing to accidents on this road.
Which now a pedestrian, so on fast zebra crossing, or before one rear across the road now. No, anything, one car in Channel. Timo and now YMCC. Be a passenger to me consider that driver to be our tier, be our 1 tier until Okafoka now.
It's scary when you are in such vehicles.
Yes.
The way almost driver or corner Sunday are no day. Is it Nazim will be Memaka cry check a crack? me kwa hane ampa me kakra no te janshi to ampa me kakra no car fo ada.
The drivers drive recklessly on the road.
It almost cars and there no crane me de ya na for ya me de. So you miss driver no me misro pa misro.
So generally the commuters and drivers in this region deem the directive by the National Road Safety Authority as one in the right direction. They are hoping that the drivers would reduce their speed limits on this road and ultimately have road accidents reduced on this particular stretch. For JoyNews, my name is Emmanuel Brightway.
And that's how we wrap up today's edition of The Pulse. I've been sitting in for Blessed Sogah. Another edition comes your way same time tomorrow. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. And right after this, we have Let's Talk Showbiz. I am MFA Apau. Many thanks for your company.
Album and other events.